call last week, Ray.
Like from the bottom of my heart, I apologize. Dude, if I tell you I was in Manhattan and I'm laying in bed about 11 o'clock at night, that's when it hit me. I can't multitask. It's proven at this point. I cannot multitask. I forgot that whole thing even after having a conversation with you. I was so nervous today. I got reminders, posted stamps all over the place. 2 o'clock. I don't know.
Is it true? Is it true that you were doing Sarah's podcast at that time? Answer the question, Longo.
Definitely not. 100% not
All right.
true.
That's a good question.
100% not true. Crazy.
I get very jealous.
What was that?
I get very jealous, Longo. I just want to make sure. You still belong to us.
I tell you, but I did miss you guys, and I'm back with a vengeance, man. Where do we start? What a great night of fights.
Yeah, and that's where we're going to start. Real quick, though.
Matter of fact, I take that back. I know where we're starting. And John, you're a journalist, and I'm very confused. I want you to clear one thing up with me. With this DC, this double talking, whatever. Did Khabib have a surgery or he went for testing? Which one was it? Because I was confused listening to you guys talk when Rogan asked him about Khabib and making the weight, and he had surgery, then he only went for test. What is it? Did he have a surgery that we don't know about?
So I feel pretty strong in saying that Kenny has no idea what we are talking about because he was doing the post-fight show.
I do not. What? No, I do not. What happened?
So
you missed it, Kenny. You missed the double talk of a century. He said he had Khabib had a surgery, and then he said, "What kind of surgery?" And then that just disappeared. Then he said he went right to, he had testing done. But I'm thinking they removed an internal organ, and he's going to be a little lighter for the next weigh-in.
Oh, man. Anik, what the hell happened? Explain this.
So real quickly, so Joe Rogan went full-fledged investigative journalist on DC at the end of the broadcast. We're doing that workman shot, Kenny, where we're sitting at the table after the pay-per-view, after Ferguson finished Kevin Lee, and we're spinning it forward with Tony Ferguson. Khabib Nurmagomedov got brought up, injected in the conversation, and DC just wasn't necessarily providing clarity as to why Khabib maybe wasn't able to have taken the fight November 4th at UFC 217 as was offered. Is that right, Ray?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. So DC was, skipping stone to stone, not putting his toe in the water. But I'd love seeing Rogan Joe Rogan.
I love it. You're not going to bring something up at Rogan.
I'm not sure. Do the Germans have a market? Did they corner the market on weight cutting? I mean, we could have saved them a trip. There's a lot of guys here that could have tested them and told them what was wrong. This is horrible.
Yeah, a lot of experts. So I know you don't always text me during these pay-per-views, so that when you do, I know that something has really made an impact on you. And no sooner did Demetrius Johnson finish Ray Borg that you were sending me a text about how impressed you were.
I got to tell you, man, I mean, I always was a fan, but I mean, this fight really just put me over the top. It has nothing to do with breaking the record. It's just, I mean, he had a couple of things. First off, Ray Borg, an example of just never quitting, never, ever quitting. That kid, I thought, fought to the best of his ability. And this other guy is just at another level. I mean, I was totally blown away. And what I love about this too, and I got to give Matt Hume a lot of credit because these guys have been together. I mean, where's the iron sharpens iron? Who's he? Iron sharpens iron theory.
Right.
Who's he training with? He doesn't have a huge camp. So me coming from a small camp, I'm always going to root for these guys. You know what I mean? But they have a connection. Him and Matt Hume have been together for years. You don't see Matt Hume in the papers. He's not getting a lot. He just does his job, man. And these guys have something special that I got to tell you, this kid was flawless. And to be ahead, 4 rounds, to none and just go for that, that submission, which blew everybody out of the water. It just was crazy. And Borg, and just the way he handled those scrambles, man, his body sensitivity was just phenomenal, man. He was a step ahead of him. You thought the guy was getting out, then he's mounted. I mean, Kenny, you had to really love that, no?
It was unbelievable. And I guess there were rumors, when they were out in Edmonton, that Demetrius was actually going to pull this move off against Ray Borg. So it's like, he was predicting he was going to win this way. I guess him and Matt Hume have been working on this move all camp, this suplex right into armbar. It was the ultimate exclamation point in breaking Anderson Silva's record. Just unbelievable. And I'm with you, Ray, because I was a Demetrius Johnson fan before, but now I'm like, okay, that's it. He's the GOAT. There's no doubt about it. So he sold me on this one as well.
Kenny, I agree. He's the GOAT, and I'll tell you what. I mean, if you look at just the quality of fighters he's fought against the quality, and I'm not taking one thing away from Anderson Silva. I love the way he fights, but you can't compare the quality of the guys this guy fought even to what Anderson Silva did. I mean, so this guy really is. I just think he took it to another level. He's been the consistency. I mean, there were times Anderson Silva. I mean, I think remember. I think Dana White against Damian Moore, he wanted to put him on the undercard the next fight. So they were struggling with him, you know what I mean, on some of those fights. But this kid, has he never not produced? I mean, I just think the consistency, the camp he comes from, the way he handles himself, I don't know. They got to do something for this guy.
And he's finishing guys
and I got to
now.
tell you, Dana had troubles with him. And for Dana to give it up, and I really believe Dana, you cannot argue this guy is by far the best pound-for-pound fighter. You just can't argue it.
Yeah, definitely, man. Now, Tony Ferguson, another guy, on a crazy win streak as well at lightweight, which in my opinion is the toughest division in the UFC, and now has an interim belt. What do you think of his performance, and is this the guy who can beat Conor McGregor at 155 pounds?
I think, look, the guy's... I'm going to say it appears like he's got holes, but he manages to get through them. But I think he beats. I think he takes McGregor deep, and that's the difference in the fight. He'll gas him out, which I think he's not going to let him off the hook once he gasses him out. And I think Ferguson could do it. He's very confident. He's unorthodox. They have kind of the same kind of crazy movement thing going on. Although Conor's technically a better boxer. But I think that's something that, Ferguson could take away with the right work. But, on the ground, he's gonna, I think be pretty dominant. And I think Ferguson wins that fight. Yeah.
So what else is going on in your world? Is it you still thinking it's going to be Jacare for Chris Weidman or what?
We haven't really mentioned. He's having a little trouble with his hand. He still hasn't really been cleared yet, and it's given him a little problem. So that's really the holdup on this end, is just getting him back to where he can start hitting with the hand. He's doing his conditioning as best he can, and I think that is the fight they're looking at. If anything happens, so we'll wait and see on that.
No rush, obviously. I know they turned him around relatively quickly to make that main event against Kelvin Gastelum. So. Now, I know you're not always the most social media inclined guy. Did you see this beef, Kenny or Ray, with Aljamain Sterling and the Jackson Wink MMA Twitter account over the weekend?
I just talked to him about it.
I texted him about it. What did he have to say to you?
Nah, he's it was literally right before this because I really just started asking him because I said. I think somebody, Jackson Wink, started following me on Twitter. I don't know if that was in relation to what happened. I think that's what I was talking about to him. So he's like, the real Jackson Wink or not the real Jackson Wink? I have, they had something with Angry Matt Serra saying me and Matt broke up last week or something. We had a feud. Or I had to give it to somebody and go, what are they even talking about? I don't even understand the progression of these things. I'm such a social media illiterate. It's I don't know. I'm not on there a lot. So then when I see something, I try to find out what the source is. I'm screwed up. But that's my problem. But
I think the gist of it was.
I think it sounds like it was. He's very racial sensitive, though. When it comes to that, because we've had a lot of discussions on, with the national anthem thing and all of that stuff. And and while we're talking about that, I thought Everlast did a great job. And it was great seeing Vegas unite after that tragedy. It was really, really good to see. And, that was kind of my point to Aljo, even with that. I mean, I said, Aljo, there's people, literally, they want to blow us off the face of the earth. I mean, we got to unite around something. I don't care what it is, but I think the flag's a good starting point. And, these guys are looking at us and, I always said if ISIS was smart, they just sit back and watch us kill ourselves. I mean, it's almost stupid at this point.